Hello everyone. Today we shall look into a scenario in SQL where we need to display all the fields along with the maximum transaction amount and its percentage. Here we have a table called transactions table in our database. If you could see here, the first column is customer ID, second is transaction ID, third is transaction amount, and fourth is transaction date. What we need is we need to identify in this particular customer ID, what is the maximum transaction amount for that all the dates or whatever the data is present, and then we need to see what is the percentage contribution of it compared to the whole. And here we shall see how to do it in multiple ways. First way, I would write it as method 1. And this method 1 we shall do it using subquery, so that we could understand what is the inner query and outer query. Here what I want is select from transactions. From this table what we want is customer ID, and what we want is maximum of transaction amount. We can rename it as maximum amount. If we run this query, and if we could see, since we have to use the group by and customer ID. So if we run this query and see the output, we have the customer ID and the maximum amount for the respective data which is present. Now we need to include this as inner query within the subquery. I'll try to show you how to do it. Here we'll write as select, and you could say from transactions table, and we could rename it as T1, and this bottom query which is present, we could enclose it in brackets. We could rename it as, or you could say we can name the table as T2. And here in the select clause on the top we can write T1 dot star, where we need all the columns, and from T2 we want maximum amount. This is one column which we want, and from the third parameter, or you could say third column, what we want is T1 dot transaction amount divided by T2 dot maximum amount. We can call this column as ratio column. And here we did the group by. We need to provide the join condition. We could say we need to join this query using subquery, right? So we can write join, and we could consider this table, and then we could write on condition where T1 is equal T1 dot customer ID is equal to T2 dot customer ID. So if we run this query, you could see that we have the customer ID, all this information from the first table. From the second table we took the maximum amount which I have shown you earlier, and using that second maximum amount and also this transaction amount, I have calculated this ratio. If you want, you could round up using the round function within the column in the select clause. So I'll further show you the second method in order to do the same thing. Here I'll write method 2 using CTE. So CTE is also very easy and understandable, which could help us separate the tables. I'll write with I could say table 1 T1 as, here I'll write the query which is select star from transactions. Let us take this query as T1, and I'll put a comma. You could write T2, which is another CTE, and you could write, open the brackets, select customer ID, comma, maximum of transaction amount, close the parenthesis, and you could name it as maximum amount from transactions. We can group by customer ID as I have shown you in the subquery. Okay, we could say that the subquery which we have written we could consider as a CT table 2, or and the other one we consider as T1. Okay, and from this what we want is we'll write as select T1 dot star. We want all the things from T1. From T2 we want maximum amount, and from for the third column we want T1 dot transaction amount divided by T2 dot maximum amount. We can call this again as ratio column or any other column if you want. This is from table T1, and as I have told you, we have to join T2, and you could understand the condition on the basis of T1 dot customer ID equal to T2 dot customer ID. So once if we run this CT query, you could see that we have got the same, the first table, the maximum amount where we have used the table 2, and the ratio calculation where we have done the division. Okay, and let us see this same thing within within a window function, how to utilize it and create a same result. I'll write method 3 using window function. Okay, here I'll write select star, okay, comma, I need all the things, and from the table as we have seen, we have created the subquery, right? Here also in window function we can create the inner query by using the window function. Okay, and here I'll write select maximum of transaction amount. Okay, I'll write over clause partition by customer ID. So this would partition the customer ID and give us the maximum amount which is being mentioned, and we could write it as maximum underscore amount, and from the table transactions, and we could close the bracket, and we could name it as T, and here the second column which we want, extra column which we want, is the transaction amount, right? Transaction amount divided by this maximum amount which we have provided in the window function, right? With I'll write maximum underscore AMT. So this is the division column which we wanted, and we have renamed it as this T. Let us run it and see whether it is working or not. I'll select it, execute. Okay, in order to make sure that we fetch this data of maximum amount, you need to include all the columns which are present from this. Only then will be able to select all the columns, right? So this is how we could select it and then execute. You could see the same result using the window function, where all the columns are selected from the first table, and from the window we can get the maximum amount and the ratio, which could be helpful. I hope this is understandable, and please practice. This is all for now. Thank you for watching, and we shall meet in the next video.